Enchantée.
You're listening to the What the Fab podcast, where empowered women empower women through candid conversations, inspiring stories, and tangible tips. I'm your host, Elise Armitage. I'm a digital creator, and I left my 9-to-5 job at Google to chase my dreams of being an entrepreneur. I'm so happy to have you here. Let's get into some real talk. Hello, welcome back to the What the Fab podcast. We have a fun episode today. Like the title says, I did a psychic reading and I'm just gonna play the recording for you. I don't even know if I believe in psychics, but I did like what this woman had to say. So we're just gonna go with it. I thought it was fun. And I am going to play the recording for you. And then I'm going to do just kind of me chatting at the end, breaking down some of my thoughts, reactions, like what I thought resonated with me, what didn't. And it was a short reading. We did 20 minutes. This was through CaliforniaPsychics.com. So you can go through and find different psychics on there based on what it is you're looking to do. So they have like clairvoyance, they have people that are focused on money, on love and relationships, past lives, all kinds of stuff. So you can really filter based on what it is that you want to cover. And then you can also filter by experience level. So I picked somebody because this was a campaign that I had some free credits for. I picked one of the most expensive people on there who had a lot of experience. You can read people's reviews. So I also selected somebody with like 4.9 out of 5 stars. Like I wanted someone that everybody was just raving about and saying, you know, that they were spot on and this and that. I didn't want somebody with like a 4.2 rating where people were like, I guess she kind of read me. I don't know. So I selected somebody on the higher end price point because I did have free credits to use. It's expensive. Like, so this woman was, let me think, she was $15 a minute. So I did a 20-minute reading with her and that's $300. So I'm definitely not saying like go spend $300 to do a psychic reading, but if you are curious about how I connected with this psychic, that was how. So yeah, so before we dive in, I just want to give a quick reminder to subscribe to the What the Fab podcast. If you have been enjoying the podcast, I would love it if you could share it on your stories, snap a screenshot, tag me at WTFab. I've been having so much fun connecting with just new people that I haven't chatted with before that are new followers, new listeners, and hearing your thoughts on different podcast episodes. And then lastly, if you have not rated and reviewed yet on Apple Podcasts, please go ahead and take a second and do that. Other than that, we are just going to dive right in to my psychic reading.
So let's go with some questions that you have, and I'll be asking my guides some of my own about you because you have a great, big, huge life path. And we've got all kinds of career stuff going on for you this year, especially like July and September seem to be really big months for you. And so I'm asking my guides some questions of my own, but you just go with your questions and I'll answer them and then interject with what my guides are telling me.
Okay. Great. Well, I love that you mentioned career stuff. I have a couple of different revenue streams, like new products that I'm thinking of launching this year, but haven't launched yet. And so I'm just kind of wondering, like, are they going to be successful? Is it going to be worth putting my time and energy and money into launching these new products? Kind of wondering how that's going to shake out.
Well, so I read for thousands of people a year, right? And every once in a while, so let's say maybe 5 times a year, I come across somebody who has energy like yours. And they show me that energy by putting an umbrella over your head. And so the umbrella signifies multiple streams of income, right? So as soon as you said multiple products, I'm sitting in my chair going, yay, doing my cheerleader arm poses, because I want you to jump in. You're kind of in a magical opportunity time. Let's go from May all the way into January of next year, meaning that everything that you touch is going to turn to gold. And you've got support behind you. They're showing me like a band of people who would jump on to support you. So I don't know if that's other bloggers, influencers, what have you, that jump up and help promote whatever you're putting out there. So it's a phenomenal time for you to launch. And they are showing me, it's like, they're actually showing me a picture of a juggler and who's throwing 5 balls up in the air at once, right? Mm-hmm. So I absolutely think that you're not meant to put one out, wait 6 months, put another thing out, wait 6 months. That's not the way they're showing me that you do it. It's like you throw a bunch of things out there at once. And let's say 90% of them are a major hit. So they're showing me a lot of abundance, a lot of support around you. You are going to have to jump off the cliff, mm-hmm. right? But you're totally supported. And it's not like, my guys are telling me, it's not like that's the first time you've jumped off the cliff. You've mm-hmm. done that multiple times in your life.
Yep.
So you're given these brilliant ideas for a reason. So the universe comes in and drops these great ideas onto the people who have the ability to make it happen if they take the leap. Mm-hmm. And so you're given those ideas for a reason. You also have a certain level of fame around you, which is super cool. I feel that that's really apparent when we have to go about a year out, because they're showing me 2022. But there is quite a bit of recognition around you. I'm excited.
Thank you. I'm excited too.
And I think the only thing that I would say as a caution mm-hmm. is you don't really need a sidekick. And there could be a little part of you that's saying, let me bring on this person as a sidekick. And I think it would kind of dilute the energy. Does that make sense to you?
Kind of. I haven't really been thinking of bringing anyone else on as like a partner or anything, so I'll have to think about what that means.
Okay, so this would be something like, okay, so let's just say you and I are best friends, and you're running a bunch of stuff by me, but you're running it by me, you already know what you want to do. You already know what you want to do. You have a clear vision and all of that. But you're running it by me and asking me for my opinion. And the way that you ask me for my opinion is, I could really use your help. What do you think of this? And so that person is going to give you their actual opinion, but you're not really wanting or needing their help on it. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I want you to avoid doing that, because then that person actually feels some ownership or in what you're trying to produce, and that's not why you were putting it out there. Mm-hmm. So that's the only red flag they're showing me around you. You actually are quite naturally intuitive, so you have a really good nose for what's going to work. And I feel that you just have a natural instinct for it.
Okay, great.
And there is a man with some influence, and when I'm saying influence, I mean some sort of level of recognition around him, who's actually really going to help you.
Okay.
So, and I feel like this guy is probably in his late 30s, early 40s, is built kind of like a soccer player, so a leaner build, not like a big football player, but more of a leaner build. And I definitely feel dark hair around this person. So this person's going to help you, kind of give you a big push.
Okay. Interesting. Would
Yeah.
this person be somebody like in the industry or somebody in my personal life?
Now that they're not showing me.
Okay.
I'll always tell you exactly what they're showing me.
Mm-hmm.
They're not showing me that. But go ahead with whatever questions you have, and then I'll keep asking some of my own.
Okay. Well, along with these revenue streams and new launches, I'm just kind of also thinking about my long-term goals and like in the future, what's possible, and just kind of dreaming up like some of my, like, what are my biggest, craziest goals. And so some of them would include retiring my husband, having him design our future home and doing a custom build. And so I'm wondering if those things, if you're seeing anything around that being a possibility in the future.
Totally possible, and sooner than you're anticipating.
Okay.
Really, sooner, because things start exploding around you in a really good way. So you're not following steps 1 through 10. You're going 1, 7, 11. You're taking these big quantum leaps. So you're not following a regular path. And it's almost like, I know you've been this before, exhausted, but in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what's coming up. It's just like, oh my gosh, this has just exploded. How do I handle all this stuff? But if I was going to build a Save the World team, I'd definitely put you on it. Because the more pressure that's on you, actually, you work really well under pressure.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I'm not seeing it be an issue at all. I would say within the 3.5 year period, right? It's actually, you're able to do it sooner. I feel it's more him that wants to be ultra, super, super, super short.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not looking at very long.
Yeah.
Because when we get to 2022, I'm not kidding. It's just like from where your life is now, it's a complete 180. And what you're able to accomplish from here to the end of the year, even you, and you believe that miracles are possible, even you turn back and look around and go, oh my God, I can't believe I did that.
Okay.
So now I do feel that you're pretty organized, because my guides are showing me nothing is falling through the cracks. So I know that you're pretty organized. The biggest thing is I really do want you to use all those intuitive gifts that you have, because I feel like they're going to come into play, especially around September. So around that September time, there is an offer for you that looks all bright and shiny on the outside, but it doesn't feel right to you. And I definitely want you to listen to your intuition on that one.
Okay.
Other than that, this is a go. This is a take a flying leap, because you're totally supported.
All right. Well, that's exciting. The other question or kind of topic I'd love to dive into is around starting a family. Do you see that for me? If so, like any kind of timing or, anything there?
Okay, so certain things I'm not allowed to talk about, like pregnancy, but I am allowed to talk about energy. So I can see that energy around you, like being real serious about it in 2022, right about in the springtime, right? Things are going so fast for you this year that even though I believe that you are Superwoman, there's so much to do this year, that I just feel that it would be really hard to add that in there for this year. But I do feel spring of 2022, that's where the energy is really popping in.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
So it's right now, it's like you've got this, like I said, I can only call it like a Midas touch. And so you need to take advantage of that energy. It doesn't come around all that often, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what you're building in the next 3 years is enough to give you generational wealth.
Wow.
That's big.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just like it's full steam ahead.
Okay.
And I do feel you and your husband actually really good partners.
Mm-hmm.
You guys complement each other.
We do. Anything else around my husband that you are seeing?
I actually feel that there's shifts for him too. He's not on the roller coaster that you're on, right? But he's actually quite intuitive and creative on his own. Mm-hmm. And I do feel that there's some branching out for him too that's coming. It's just on a different scale. It's where I see you galloping ahead. I see him doing a canter. It's just a little bit slower and a little behind you, but he actually has a bunch of gifts to offer too. Mm-hmm. So I do feel that your husband spends a lot of time in his head, kind of overthinking things a little bit. So he's a little more deliberate in his moves, doesn't take as big a chances as you do, but he's definitely getting ready to make some changes. I just don't feel that there's any big major changes until we get to the fall.
Okay.
Yeah, this is going to be a really exciting ride for you and your family. And you've got everything you need. Like I said, you don't need any partners. You don't need any of that to just kill it.
Awesome. Love hearing that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like I said, there's not that many cautions. Usually I like to give a heads up if there's something, that you need to be mindful of. There really isn't that many. We've got the thing over there in September. We've got the friend who feels a little more ownership. I think it's because of the way you ask her something. But other than that, that's it.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
So they are showing me that what you have coming up for you is at some point, and I don't feel it would be in this next 2-year period. It's after that. But at some point, they're showing me a book. They're actually showing me a screenplay that goes along with that. So there is a book inside of you that's going to be coming out. So it's just going to take a little while.
Yeah. Very interesting.
So you've got this. You've got it.
Thank you.
So normally I just love to solve problems. There aren't that many around you. There just aren't. I do feel like you've had to put up some boundaries, right? Mm-hmm. But I actually feel that you're doing good on your boundaries. Yeah. So whatever questions you have to ask of me, I'm happy to answer them.
Are you able to see anything regarding past lives?
Sometimes. If it's something that I'm supposed to know, right, or if it's relevant to this lifetime, then I'll be able to tell. So if you want to ask me a specific question, if they give me the information, I'll definitely pass it on.
I just recently have been doing a little bit of work around my mindset around money and abundance. And one thing that was brought to my attention was that, because I was trying to dig into like my childhood, and I was having trouble thinking of anything that might affect that mindset. And someone brought up to me that some of it could be from past lives. And I had never thought of that before.
Okay, so you're interested in knowing where there's blocks to your abundance.
Mm-hmm.
So a particular vow that you've made, right? So I have a little bit of a different take on things, and I've been doing this for a million years. My thing is this. When I look at your level of happiness, it's way up here. You could be teaching courses on manifesting. You've got that kind of energy. Now, I do feel that there is a little bit around you of the feast or famine energy that they're bringing me in. But I feel that you've done some of your own work on that already. So right now, I'm telling you, I'm not seeing any big blocks from past lives around this.
All right, so at this point, we wrapped things up because I ran out of time for this reading. The way it works is you get a little ding, which you guys heard, and then you can opt to like buy more time if you want, and I didn't, and so we got cut off. But I felt like I got the gist of what she was saying around past lives and everything, so I thought it'd be fun to kind of like dissect some of my reactions to some of the different things that she was saying. So first, when she was like, I read for thousands of people a year, and maybe 5 times a year I come across people with energy like yours, and it's like signified to me with an umbrella over your head, which means multiple streams of income. I mean, that felt great. Like, wow, you read so many people and only a handful of them have my energy. But also I'm like, do you say that to everybody? So I don't know. I'll take it. I'll take a compliment when it's handed to me. I thought it was interesting that she mentioned July and August being a month of huge growth for me in my business, because like end of June is when I plan on launching my first digital product, and I have a whole like roadmap mapped out from like beginning of April through most of June. So I thought that was interesting. She said that I have a certain level of fame around me, which I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, like, have I been recognized, and have people come up to me and been like, oh, you're Elise from What the Fab? Yes, that happens sometimes, but I don't know if I would call it fame. But she did say that was like a year out from now. So we'll see, you guys. Maybe I'm going to be famous. I don't know about that one. She said it's not the first time that I've jumped off a cliff and taken a leap. And I've done that multiple times, which is definitely true. Taking the leap, leaving my job from Google, taking the leap, hiring somebody for full-time support. There's definitely, that resonated with me. When she said I have a band of people behind me. So this year is the first year that I have joined a mastermind. I'm part of Julie Solomon's mastermind group. And so I just got back from our retreat in Nashville, and we're in this mastermind group together for at least the rest of this year. So I thought that was interesting that she was saying I have this like band of women behind me, because everybody, I mean, we meet every single week. It's like very, very supportive. So yeah, that's where my mind went when she mentioned that. The sidekick thing, in the moment, I didn't really know what she was talking about. And I was like, I don't see how this is relevant. I have since had a realization. I'm not going to go into details because it has to do with something within my business that I'm working on right now, but just wanted to mention that. I don't know. Something sparked in my head where that could make sense. And then a man with some influence who's going to help me. I was like, is she talking about my husband? But the ages don't really match up. She said late 30s, early 40s. And Omid is mid-30s. So not sure about that. He does have dark hair, a leaner build, so like maybe the soccer build. I don't know. We'll have to see about that one. She said I'm pretty organized, which I definitely am. I definitely took a note of her saying in September time there was going to be an offer for me that on the outside looked good, but in my gut didn't feel right. So we'll see. I'll check in with you guys and let you know if something like that happens. When I asked her about starting a family, I was kind of surprised that she said spring 2022 was when she felt like my energy shifting to be serious about that, because Omid has shared with me that he would like to start trying for a family in spring 2022. So that was interesting. And her saying that this year is like, there's just too much going on, and building these different parts of my business. And thought it was funny that she's like, you've got like the Midas touch right now and that doesn't last forever. So like focus on that. But that's exactly how I feel. Like I'm 100% not trying to get pregnant, start a family this year, because I'm like, I've got so much that I want to accomplish this year. It's not even on my radar. And obviously I didn't mention any of that to this woman. So that was interesting. I loved that she said that Omid and I are really good partners and we complement each other, because that is just like so true. We complement each other in so many ways, and it's something we talk about often, like how we both have different strengths and weaknesses and they balance each other out so well. I thought it was funny that she said that my husband spends a lot of time in his head overthinking things, because we actually were at, it was like an influencer event for a hotel opening in San Francisco back before the pandemic. And one of the things they had at the event was a tarot card reader. And so we were like, sure, like this is fun. Let's sit down and do this. And one of the cards that she pulled for Omid was a picture of a hangman. And she was like, okay, I know this looks really morbid, but that's not actually what it means or what it's about. It has more to do with the fact that you are very inside your head and you weigh the pros and cons of things, but you go back and forth. It takes you a really long time to make a decision. You overthink things. We kind of laughed because that is definitely Omid. And since then, we jokingly like call him the hangman, or like if he's, saying like, oh, I should do this, but I could do this, but what about this? I'll be like, okay, you're being a hangman. Like, stop it. So that was funny to me that she noticed that and said that he spends a lot of time in his head overthinking things. Let's see what else. I took some notes here of things that kind of stood out to me. She said that a book was in my future, but like years down the line. I have definitely thought about writing a book, but have also thought that's something that like future me could do. I just don't have the capacity or like a solid idea for it yet. But that is something that has been in my mind as like a goal of mine. So interesting that she mentioned that. Okay, the past lives thing, you guys, I don't even know if I believe in past lives, but I figured, you know what, I'm doing a psychic reading. Like, why not? And it was something that was mentioned to me recently at my retreat for my mastermind group. So I was like, let me just ask her. Interesting to hear her say like, nope, no like blockages or anything around abundance from any of your past lives. Like that's not showing up for me. So I can just kind of, put that to rest in my mind and not wonder about that. I also laughed when she talked about me having like a strong abundance mindset and kind of like being able to manifest things for myself, but also having a feast or famine energy, because that is so me when it comes to money. I'm like, I love making money. I get a high when I make money. I like to see my money all in my account. And it's something that I need to work on, because I know that I should be investing my money, not hoarding it in a bank account. But I kind of also have this fear of like, what if something happens with my business, with Omid's business, like, and we need this money here and easily accessible. And so, yeah, I definitely related to that. And I thought that was interesting. So yeah, I know I've said like 10 times, like, that was interesting, but it was. And whether, you believe in psychics or not, like I thought it was fun. And obviously she said a lot of positive things about my business, so that's exciting. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, I'll definitely be keeping an eye on September. We'll see, if we see that energy in July, August of things exploding. Would love to see it, here for it. But yeah, it was interesting. If you guys have ever done a reading by a psychic, I would love to hear what your experience was like. It's something that I'm curious about. So shoot me a DM. I'm at WTFab on Instagram. And if you have been enjoying this episode, go ahead and subscribe on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, whatever platform it is that you listen through. Lots more fun content coming up. And if you could take a second to rate and review on Apple Podcasts, you know that I would appreciate that. It helps me grow my podcast and continue creating content for you guys. This was kind of a different episode, but I just thought it would be a fun one to share. All right, well, we are going to wrap this one up, and I will be back in your ear next week.